Hello, this is Emma Ghaffari and welcome to Weekly World Climate Change News. Carbon emissions in the USA have gone up by 3.4% in 2018. This is according to an independent economic research group, Rhodium Group. They say the rise is the largest spike in 8 years and after 3 years of decline. A second report by another research group, the Global Carbon Project, agrees with the estimation. The USA is the world's second largest emitter of greenhouse gases due to natural and economic factors, as well as having the largest emissions coming from buildings and the industry. The right-wing Brazilian President Bolsonaro transferred responsibility for recognizing indigenous lands to the Ministry of Agriculture. The entity is responsible for the identification, delimitation, demarcation, and registration of lands traditionally occupied by indigenous people. The ministry now controls the management of public forests and the Brazilian Forestry Service, which is in charge of sustainable forest use. Deforestation is on the rise in Brazil, which saw its highest rate of tree clearing in a decade this past year. The government has also slowed the pace at which it recognizes the indigenous lands in recent years and now has more power over NGOs. A major heatwave scorches Australia, where temperatures reach 14 degrees Celsius higher than normal for late December, causing fire in many regions. The cause of the heat is a dome of high pressure setting in over much of the continent over the past few days. However, climate change is also expected to continue increasing the severity and length of heat waves. New South Wales Health issued an air quality warning for the state's capital of Sydney as ozone levels rise with the temperature. Setbacks in countries like Brazil, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Madagascar, and the United States came on top of years of high forest coverage loss. The new year starts with ominous predictions for tropical forests, mostly due to economic and political situations, new carbon decisions, and forest monitoring techniques. With less than 2 years remaining for countries to reach the goals set in the Convention on Biodiversity in 2009, stakeholders are thinking of increased targets for the 2020 convention in China, with 2019 as a pivotal moment for scaling up global awareness for biodiversity decline. According to Bloomberg New Energy Finance, India ranked second in investments towards renewable energy in 2018. Moreover, India is excelling in the renewable auctions market. In 2017, over 11 GW of projects were awarded through auctions, which resulted in the best year for solar capacity as installations jumped by 90% over the year. There is also a rise in private investments. According to the Global Finance Report, project developers, corporations, and commercial banks account for the majority flow of investments towards electric vehicles. The US government shutdown has had far-reaching effects, including on the AMS's annual meeting that hosts thousands of weather forecasters, researchers, and climate scientists to discuss ways to improve the assessment and understanding of weather and climate. However, hundreds of scientists from NASA and other agencies were barred from attending due to the shutdown. Scientists in the academic and private sectors expressed disappointment over the absence of federal partners, citing the important role those mixed collaborations play in advancing their work. Due to sea level rise and a surge in salinity, agricultural land in the Indian villages have turned into a wasteland. According to a report by the Indian government's CWC, climate change-induced sea level rise is a major threat to the country for nearly 250 million people living within 50 kilometers of the coastline. Threats include the submergence of low-lying regions, immersion of seawater in non-saline territories because of adjusted tides, expanded salinization of soil and water, and loss of jobs to fishers and ranchers. With villages seeming helpless, they have to turn to local authorities for help. A highly intense concession held from 10:30 on December 19th until 1 o'clock of the following day, more than 10 EU countries gathered to rebuke government subsidies to electricity generating companies, especially those that use coal as their main source of energy. Poland was the main agenda over the night, over its immense government subsidy to electricity providers, who they call saviors during the chilly winters. The new agreement sets a rule of 550 grams of carbon per kilowatt of electricity generated. Dozens of sites considered as having countless value to humanity are under threat from consequences of climate change. Concerns individuals have highlighted the ever-shrinking Great Barrier Reef and the city of Venice as amongst some suffering negative consequences. According to the IUCN, 1 in 4 World Heritage Sites are highly threatened. Measures, including the development of a vulnerability index, have been put forward, but many fear that these sites, particularly those of developing nations, may be compromised by lack of action. Having declared a red alert over climate change in 2018, the UN Secretary-General still remained hopeful in his New Year's address to the world. Antonio Guterres highlighted upcoming and past achievements, including the continuation of the Paris Climate Agreement and the peace agreement in South Sudan. The Secretary-General ended on a hopeful note, maintaining that the UN will continue to build bridges and space for solutions. I'm Emma Ghaffari, and we hope you join us next week on Weekly World Climate Change News.